Good morning, good day, everyone. Welcome to Talks with Tanya. I'm really excited about today's show. Thank you so very much for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tanya Bain, and I am also known as Tanya Inspires. And what I do is all about educating, informing, impacting, and connecting by sharing information that really builds bridges to heal lives and leads to whole life success. One of the things that I've learned along life's journey is that I believe that we're accountable to use every tool and every experience and piece of wisdom that we have acquired on our journey, because all of those lessons that you've learned, the books that you've read, the lives that you've watched, and the information that you've acquired along the way are needed, not only for yourself, but to help someone else along the way. So I'm excited to be here today with one of my favorite guests. But I just want to cue this up today. Here on Talks with Tanya, we talk about things that a lot of people don't want to talk about. So if it's one of those topics, I am definitely, Talks with Tanya is the place to be. And what we're talking about today is a very, very serious problem that we have here in America, yet another serious problem that we have here in America. And it's something that we can do something about. We're talking about child sexual abuse. And child sexual abuse prevention is something that is possible through education. And you know me, I love doing the research. So just a little bit of information, and then I'm going to bring on an amazing guest. Child sexual abuse is a crime that happens across race, religion, class, and it has lifetime effects. It includes any interaction between a child and an adult, or a child and another child. Let me repeat that. Between a child and another child, in which the child is used for sexual stimulation of the predator or the observer. And child sexual abuse is often predicated on silencing the victim. So let's keep it a secret. And as a result, the reporting and the disclosure is very low. Even without knowing the full scope of child sexual abuse instances, most experts will agree that 500,000 children will be impacted by child sexual abuse per year. Per year. And this is one of the reasons why I am a staunch advocate for sharing information about it. I am a child sexual abuse survivor. I have experienced instances, myself, and have been also impacted within my family. And it is such a pervasive situation, and the impacts are lifelong. So I am going to bring on a guest whom I love dearly. Her name is Sharia Schultz. And just give me a moment and let me do my little production thing here. And I will add her to our stream. Good morning, Sharia. Good morning. How are you today?
Oh, Tanya, I am feeling very well and I'm excited. I love being on your show. I thank you for opening up this opportunity for me to, once again, spread awareness and educate our community so that we can help prevent and end childhood sexual abuse and to also just change the way that we think, the way that we respond, and the way that we communicate about childhood sexual abuse. We have to
Absolutely.
remove the discomfort. We have to move the discomfort.
Yes, absolutely. This is one of those situations where moving to the discomfort is the solution.
Yes.
Now, moving to the discomfort is the solution. We have been raised in an environment where anything having to do with children and sex is a taboo subject, and we
Yes.
need to begin to talk about it. But I want to share with our audience just a little bit about you. Sharia is an amazing woman. She is an educator with 20 plus years of teaching experience. She holds a master's degree in special education from Cheney University in Pennsylvania, and her minor is in behavior modification. She also has an early childhood certificate from Lincoln University, and a teacher of the handicap teaching license. Sharia has taught children, teens, adults in the classroom, in the prison system, in hospitals, daycare centers, and private homes throughout Delaware, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and internationally in Abu Dhabi. Just really sharing from her own personal experience and really extensive professional training and classroom experience, you'll get a taste for how passionate Sharia is about teaching about this topic that most people do not want to discuss. And because Sharia really stands for ensuring that justice is done and support is provided for the survivors, she has embodied and created an organization called Buddy Speaks. And Buddy Speaks is a nonprofit organization that really helps adults and children become empowered, right? And confident and able to have open conversations and discuss about what to do when the unthinkable happens. And I can attest to, having to pick up the phone on more than one occasion and call on Sharia's expertise to guide me through. And I'm going to share with everyone now that, I have been pressed to form a different kind of relationship with Sharia, and she and I are going to, be working together very closely, in the near future. I'm really excited about it, and have prayerfully taken on, a different role, but always. With the purpose in mind of spreading awareness, sharing the truth, and making a difference in people's lives. So, Sharia, you're here today. Tell us a little bit about Buddy Speaks, and just share with us some of the things that we absolutely need to know.
Oh my goodness, Tanya, when you were talking about me, I said, I want to meet this Sharia. Oh my goodness, she sounds amazing. So, I never read my bio. I forget about all the things that I have done, and I just focus on whatever it is I have to do when the bio, when I'm invited to an event or online and I have to speak. So I said, wow, Sharia, who is the Sharia?
Who
So,
is she?
oh my goodness, she sounds amazing.
Yes, she is, and she is. I think it's a wonderful thing. You have put in the work uh, and the taken your experiences and turned it into something that is changing lives, each and every day. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the Buddy Speaks Foundation.
Okay, so Buddy Speaks Foundation is a nonprofit organization, and my nonprofit organization was started with the mission to change the way our community responds to, as I said when we first started, responds to, understands, and reacts to childhood sexual abuse. My goal is to help prevent and end childhood sexual abuse by providing educational workshops for parents, by bringing awareness through my social media platforms, by providing workshops for children. Because my goal is to educate parents because, as we know, or many of us don't know, it is the responsibility of the parent to protect your child from being sexually abused. It is our responsibility to become educated, to understand the grooming process, to have conversations with our children, to discuss what if scenarios with our children so that we can reduce their vulnerability, and to know what sexual abusers, what they look for, to be able to be comfortable with this conversation, to teach our children the body safety rules, but also to empower our children so that if a sexual abuser, innocently tells them, this is just our secret. Mommy said you can't have ice cream, but I'm gonna give it to you. It's our secret. Don't tell. That your child is able to speak out and say, wait, we don't keep secrets. And the child knows that to say that because the parent is constantly educating them. Because secrecy is one of the biggest tools that the abusers use because they don't want to get caught. So they may start testing the boundaries by grooming the child with this is our secret. And then it goes from this is our secret to with the ice cream, this is our secret with the money that I've given you, this is our secret with the gifts that I've given you to, tickling. That's one of the biggest things that sexual abusers use, tickling. The tickling process to desensitize your child's body and to start off with an innocent touch. Might touch you on the arm, but I'm going to tickle you. So I might tickle you under your arm and then move over to your chest. I'm going to tickle you in your stomach and then move down to your private area. And we, as parents, educated parents, we teach our children the names of our private parts. But once your child knows the names, then you can go ahead and say private parts. But it's important not to call it a cuckoo, a caca, kiki. And this is what we do at Buddy Speaks. I provide support for parents. I provide education for parents and empower the children. And we empower the children by educating the parents. We have to remove the stigma in our community, the silent stigma, the hush-hush stigma, the I don't want to talk about it stigma. I don't want to talk about it. What goes on in our home, stay in our home. And also providing support for survivors, support for parents, because parents, they carry a level of guilt that is unbelievable. When your child is abused, you feel like you failed your child. What did I do? And being able to support the child and being able to support the parent and letting them know it's not their fault, unless the parent did know about it and didn't do anything about it. So like I said, we provide workshops. I have a website where, I have lots of information on my website. Um, I have an online workshop coming up, and we just have, it's a whole nonprofit organization. So we are here to help our community. We are joining the cause. We are creating champions to help fight against this cause and protect these babies.
Absolutely. Now, some of the things that you share, because parents and this is like from my own experience, have certain questions, and trying to understand what to do when when your child might disclose, or if you have a situation where you don't quite know what to do. What can you share with us just briefly, okay, about, when that situation comes up, what to do?
Oh my goodness, and I'm so glad that you asked me that because I actually just shared that information on my social media page too, and it's on my website. And that is so important. The way that a parent responds to disclosure is the beginning of it's the beginning of your child's journey to healing. So the first thing you want to do as parents, and this is why we have to have these conversations all the time, and parents have to become educated, and parents have to talk about it so that they're able to stay calm, stay in control. Because if you, for one moment, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill her. What? Why didn't you tell me? That child will shut down. You lost them. Because the person that is abusing your child, we're talking about this childhood sexual abuse, not the sexual violence where the rape was, the grooming process, to constantly manipulating your child's mind and it's usually 90% of the time it's with someone that they know and love and trust. So you have to stay in control, and you have to tell your child, I believe you. You have
Yes.
to tell them, I believe you. In childhood sexual abuse, the person is guilty until proven innocent. That's my theory. So you're guilty, and then you prove to me that you're innocent. So you tell that child, I believe you. You tell that child, I'm sorry this happened to you. It wasn't supposed to happen. You listen, and you don't interrogate. You listen, and if you can,
Mhm.
write down what the child is saying, because you're going to have to report it. Tell the child that it wasn't their fault. They need to hear this constantly, and not just once. Every time they talk to you, every time they open up, every time they share a memory, I'm sorry, this wasn't supposed to happen to you. I'm here for you. Don't threaten the perpetrator, because a child that experiences sexual assault and sexual abuse, they blame themselves, and they love 90% of the time, they love the person that abused them. So if you think about Maya Angelou, when she was abused and she spoke out and she shared her abuse, that person that raped her went missing and then dead. And that's why she stopped talking. Maya Angelou, at that point, she stopped talking, and she stopped talking for a very long time. But she did a lot of reading, and she read every book in her library, every book. And then after, when she finally started speaking again, that's why she went into poetry. But she blamed herself for someone's death. So you don't want to threaten the person in front of your child. Now, you're human. So if you're with your friends, if you're with your colleagues, people that you trust, you go ahead and you can express your feelings, but never do it in front of that child. And tell your child you're going to keep them safe, and that you have to call someone. I'm going to call someone and let them know what happened, and so that they can help us. And you can call 1-800 for a child. That is a hotline number, and they can direct you to the authorities that is in your area. But that is a 1-800 number. Disclosure
Yes.
is so important, and the way that you respond is so important, and it's such a big key factor to the way the child goes ahead and move forward with their healing process. I know you said
Absolutely.
be short, but
No, no, no. And no, I wanted to make sure that we understood how important the adult role is in helping the child to be comfortable.
Yes,
Okay, because you don't know what to do. You
you
don't
don't.
know what to do. I'd like you to speak a little bit about, if you could, um, that sometimes it's not an adult
Yes.
that is the perpetrator. So tell us, a little bit about that and what to look out for.
Okay. Statistics show that 40% of childhood sexual offenders are by older teens. This
Mm,
is a reality by older teens. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. I was abused and sexual violence as a teenager. I was abused by an older cousin. He was a teenager. I was less than 10 years of age. This is
wow.
a reality. This is a reality that older teens, and we don't take it lightly. My abuse was taken lightly because it was a cousin and an older teen. So it wasn't looked at as though you're going to have the same terrible lasting effects as you would if it was an adult. And that is not true at all because you're still a child and someone still violated you. And, we have to take it just as serious. It doesn't matter. It can be a child that is, if you're a child and you're making another child perform, because you perform acts, that is still rape. That is
Yes,
still a lot of times what will happen in a system is that they'll say, well, because you were the same age, it may be hard to prosecute the child if they're close in age, but it doesn't matter. You let them decide. You still deal with it and you still handle it the same way you would if they said it was my uncle or it was my coach or it was my aunt or it was my mother or it was my father. It is the same pain. It is the same trauma. It is the same crime. And unfortunately, if it's another child that's doing it, then we need to find out what happened to that other child as well, because that child may be acting out because they are being abused and they did not receive any help and they don't understand and know the boundaries and they are, you're paying attention to the behavior and something is
yes,
happening with the behavior that is causing them to do the same thing. So
absolutely.
we don't minimize
Absolutely.
it. We don't minimize it because they're the same age. Because there's behaviors that are just curiosity. There are children that are curious and they display certain behaviors, and then there's sexual abuse. There's the crime. Because some children they might want to, oh, let me look at you, you look at me, I'm gonna rub you, I'm gonna rub you, you rub me. But when there's an act where perform, oral sex on me, there's penetration, anything that is the adult like behaviors, then that's a crime. And we need to do something about it. And we need to act and we need to act and we need to call the hotline to report it. And call me too if you need help and you don't know what to do.
Yes, absolutely. Which is absolutely what I did. And you bring up so many good points. Um, when a crime is being perpetrated on a child by another child, that is just an indicator that it is very likely that that behavior is part of an experience that they had. So, it's not about their fault. It really is about saving more than one child or
That's
teenager and dealing with it appropriately and dealing it with it appropriately. So, in your experience, what are the challenges that you face or that citizens face with regard to, dealing with childhood sexual abuse?
The biggest challenge that I find is that people, they want to stay in denial. They don't want to talk about it, and they believe that it's not going to happen to my child. Those are the
Mm,
biggest challenges. If they're in denial about it, just keep it away from me. I don't want to talk about it, and I'm fine. My child, no, it's not going to happen to my child. Those are the biggest challenges. Getting the parents to reach out, getting the parents to, if I go on live and I'm talking about sexual abuse prevention, someone will jump on and it'll show that I have 3 people on. And then as soon as I open my mouth about prevention, they jump right off because it shows you how many people are on. They don't want to talk about it. People want it to go away, but it's not going away. It is not going away. It's not going to go away. And unfortunately, what happens is abusers, that's what they want. They want to not talk about it. They are looking forward to us being in denial. They're looking forward to us being uneducated. Because let me tell you, sexual abusers, they pick out children. They pick out the
mm,
ones who they know are not educated. They strategically study our children. They study the parents. If the child knows anything about body safety education, they say, not this one. There's too many children that don't know. So they test the waters. Oh, she knows about being the boss of her body. Oh, she knows to say no. Oh, she knows about secrets. Oh, no, 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 no. I can't. I can't. I don't want to. I'll go to the next child because they don't want to be found out. That's too much work. That's too much work. Trying to groom this child and rape this child. So let me go on to the next child. So that's why
mhm.
I say educate parents so that they can educate their children.
Absolutely. So, what is it? And children don't often disclose
No,
because of that, secret bond that they have with the abuser. Are there any particular signs that a parent can look out for
no.
and be aware of?
Yes, there are many signs there, and yes, children, they don't disclose. They don't disclose for many reasons. They don't disclose because they're afraid. They don't disclose because they love the person that is abusing them. They don't disclose because they feel guilty. They don't disclose because of all the manipulation that has went on. They don't disclose because their body starts to enjoy the touch. They don't disclose because they're ashamed, because they're confused. So there's physical signs.
Mhm.
The, there are physical signs. If you see bleeding, bleeding on their genitals, if you see blood in their underwear, if you see a rash, those are physical signs. And then we have if the child self harms, that is a sign. That is a sign of abuse. If the child suddenly changes their eating habits, they're either overeating or undereating, that is a sign. If the child attempts suicide, that is a sign. If the child wets the bed, that is a sign. If the child suddenly regresses with their, start acting like a baby, nightmares are a sign. Stuttering is a sign. Um, Losing interest, where at one time they may have loved sports and then they decided they don't want sports. Watching pornography is a sign. Um, oh my goodness, there's so many signs that we can for abuse. Grades,
Mm,
grades, grades dropping. Here's one that many people miss: becoming an overachiever.
wow.
The fawning process. That's how I was. I'm going to be this perfect girl. And that way, if I'm perfect, the survivor disassociates, and now I'm going to become perfect. And if I become perfect, then maybe I won't get in trouble. And then it carried me into the adult life. If I'm a perfect wife, then you won't be mean to me. If I'm the perfect daughter, then you won't abandon me. You won't be mean. If I'm the perfect sister, if I'm doing everything, just trying to be the perfect, 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 because I'm still carrying that response from my abuse. If I'm good and I do what the abuser says, then they won't keep hurting me. They won't keep touching me. And this happens even with children. Once they disclose their abuse, they'll still be the same way because they're still carrying that mindset. And we have to try to unlearn those behaviors.
Yes, yes, yes. So what do we tell our children? What can we tell our children to help arm them with, what they need in order to be able to, handle themselves?
Well, one thing we have to know first and foremost is you cannot expect a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old to fight off a sexual abuser. Someone that's 30 years old, someone that's 20 years old, a 10-year-old fight off a 15-year-old. You can't expect them to do that. That's unrealistic. But you can arm them so that they feel comfortable with speaking out, comfortable speaking out if someone is trying to groom them or if someone touches them. So you empower them. You teach your children boundaries. You teach your children boundaries. You teach them that they are the boss of their body. Their body belongs to them. No one has the right to touch them. No one has the right to make them touch them. You teach your child that they don't have to show affection. They have to speak because we have to have good manners, but you don't have to hug anyone. You don't have to sit on Santa's lap. You don't have to sit on your grandmother's lap. And if your grandmother gets upset and your grandmother or grandfather say, oh, that's going to make me sad that you're not hugging me, I'm your grandmother, let your child know that that's okay. But also let the adults that's in your child life know my child does not hug. My child does not if my child doesn't want to hug, they don't have to hug. As an adult, we arm children by empowering them also by saying, can I have a hug? May I have a hug? And if the child says no, you say, okay. Look, I get the no's all the time. I just got a no last weekend, and I'm an educator, and I love kids. And she was the cutest thing. And I said, hi, sweetheart. Can I have a hug? And she said, no. And I said, okay. But I said, I love her parent because whoever her mother is, her mother empowered her and taught her that she can say no. And it was my job to accept her no and not make her feel bad. Not make her feel bad for saying no. Because if an abuser goes to touch the child can say no, and that abuser will leave your child alone because they know that your child is educated. So you teach them they are the boss of their bodies. You teach them the proper names of their private parts. I know the names of my private parts. Why? Because we want to have these conversations with the children so that the children, they are uncomfortable. They're not uncomfortable. 1 second. They're not uncomfortable. They're not uncomfortable when we have these conversations when we're talking about sex. So, like you can teach them a boy has a penis, a girl has vagina. These are the names of our private part. Make a cute little song up. I know another lady, she does that type of work and she teaches them that, you know how you do head, shoulders, knees and toes. And then you go eyes and ears and mouth and nose. A boy has a penis and a girl vagina. Something you can incorporate a cute little song so that while you're teaching them their part, and just it's just the body. So don't tell your children they have a cuckoo, a caca, a pocketbook, a hot dog. Why? Because when they disclose their abuse, for example, if I tell my child her vagina is a petunia, right? And I did it one time when I wasn't aware of body safety education. When my child was a baby, I called her vagina petunia. Oh, it was cute. And so if my child knows that I call it a petunia, and she goes to school and say, my uncle touched my petunias, the teacher's going to think she's talking about a flower. And that
Exactly.
So you teach them that so they can become comfortable. It's just a part of the body. So you teach them the names of the body parts. You also teach your children what private parts is. Their vagina, their buttocks, their breasts, their nipples. Teach them that their mouth is a private part, even though people can see it. Why? Because people commit crimes against children with their mouth. They make the child perform oral sex on them, or they perform oral sex on your child. So you have to teach your child that's your mouth. No one has the right to do anything to your to make you do anything with your mouth. So you teach them the names of their private parts. You teach them that their private parts are to be covered. And we cover our private parts. And no one can touch them unless you go to the doctor. And if you go to the doctor, mommy is there with you, and the doctor will tell you, or if your body is sick, the doctor will tell you that they're going to touch you. So you have to teach them that no one has the right to touch your body, and you don't have the right to touch anyone's body, because we have to teach them that no one can do that to them, and they can't do it to anyone else, because we have to teach our children that, because sexual abusers may make them touch them. So we teach them. And one of the most important parts of body safety education is teaching the children about a safety circle or a prevention team. What is a safety circle and a prevention team? As a group of 5 individuals that your child feels are safe people to talk to. You and your child work together to create that safety circle. Your child may not want to disclose their abuse to you, mom or not. They may not feel comfortable. You may be the perpetrator. You may be married to the perpetrator. You may be the sister of the perpetrator. You may not have an open relationship with your child where your child feels comfortable talking to you. That's the real reality. We're not parents. And sometimes the child, I can't talk to my mom. She gets on my nerves. I can't talk to my mom. She's so mean. I can't talk to my mom. She's always on the phone. I can't talk to my mom. She's always on the computer. I can't talk to my mom. She's always yelling. I can't talk to my mom because my mom is the one that's raping me at night. I can't talk to the mom. So the safety circle is 5 people that your child chooses that they're safe people. And you check back in with the children, because that safety circle may change over time. 5 people that your child trusts. You don't pick them, because you can't decide who your child trusts and who they feel safe to talk to. And those 5 people are people that your child can go to if their body starts to give them trigger warnings, their body starts to feel unsafe and feel uncomfortable, and they can go to them and talk to. With the 5 people, one person shouldn't be a part of the family. Why? Because if all 5 people are in the family and one of the people is abusing you that's in the family, families protect each other. They may not go and get the child help. They may say, we're going to take care of this within our family. But if it's someone that is connected to your child that doesn't have any loyalty to your family, they have loyalty to your child, they're going to get help. So you teach your child, this is our safety circle. You can draw a hand and they can write the name on each fingertip, or you can draw a circle above each finger and put the person's name inside the safety circle. And you can put it inside the fingers. You can write the name, or you can make circles around it, or you can make a big circle, and that big circle can have the child and then 5 people around it, whichever way you want to present your safety circle, and they write the name. If the child can't read, they can draw a picture. They can draw a picture because they may not be able to read that name. And these are the 5 people that your child can tell. And you tell them, you go and tell someone in a safety circle. If the first person doesn't get you help, you tell the second person. If the second person can't get you help, you tell the third person. And you keep telling and telling and telling until you get help. And you constantly have these conversations with your children. And that's how we equip them. But everyone shouldn't be a family member. We should have one person that is not a family member.
So having these consistent conversations with the child really ensures that it stays top of mind for them. It's not just a one and done. It's not just a one and done.
You have to constantly have conversations. I'll tell you a story. There was a parent whose child disclosed to them. The child disclosed to them. What did she say? She said it was either 4 or 5 years ago. It was 4 years ago, she said. And when the child disclosed to the parent, The parent responded properly to the point where the child was so excited and said, I'm going to draw you the best picture in the whole wide world. I just love you. Thank you, mommy. And the reason why is because the sexual abuser told the child, everyone's going to hate you. Everyone's going to be mad at you. You're going to get in trouble. So when the child finally did disclose, they said, oh my gosh, you're not mad at me. You don't hate me. I love you. And they, and the child, trusted the parent to share. Well, 4 years later, the child reached out and told their mother something new that happened in their abuse that they were holding in.
Mm.
And the mother said, the child told her, no, we're not going to ever talk about this again, but I'm going to tell you this is what happened. And why? Because the mother had the conversation. The mother had the conversation, and the mother just asked, "Do you ever feel like you want to touch a child? Do you ever feel like boundaries? You want to cross boundaries? Does your body ever feel like that you want to overpower a child? Did anyone ever overpower you?" And the child reached out. And you always have to have teachable moments. Oh, I have those with my children all the time. I'll tell you a little funny, a funny situation I had with my daughter the other day. She was sewing. She's learning how to sew now, and she was at the machine and she was sewing. So it was a comfortable setting. And I said, "Okay, so let me ask you a question, guys." I was talking to her and I was talking to my son, and I said, "So what if?" And they said, "Oh Lord," because they know, what. And I said, "So what if you're in school and your teacher tells you, come on and give me a kiss. You give me a kiss, I'll make sure you get an A in this class. You never have to worry about, you never have to worry about your grades. You don't have to worry about to test again. So when everybody leaves after school, you stay in for tutoring with me and you give me a kiss, and I won't say anything." So my daughter said, "So what would you say? What would you do? What would you tell?" My daughter said, "I would say, pucker up, buttercup." My son said, "I hope it's my cute teacher." And I was like, "Oh, Lord." I said, "Back to the basics we go." And she said, "Pucker up, buttercup." I said, "Oh my gosh, where did I find these children?" So we laughed about it, and they, of course, they said, "Psych, mom, I wouldn't say that. I know, mom, you always teach us. We always talk about this." But it was funny. But you have to use teachable moments all the time, and even as a parent, it is also your responsibility to speak out. To speak out if you see something it doesn't feel right. I had to do that as a parent. So, my daughter told me, like, "Mom, I don't feel comfortable. He's always doing this. He's always doing that." And then he made a phone call to me one too many times inquiring about my child. I said, "Listen, my child is never, ever, ever going to be allowed to be alone with you. Ever. So don't ask. My child is never. I don't feel comfortable about it, and neither does she. Stop asking me. It's not an option." They stopped. They never came again. Because I have the conversations with my child, and my child feels safe with letting me know, "Mom, I don't feel comfortable. This is what's happening. My body feels weird." Because your body takes the score, and your body will let you know even before your mind can. She let me know that she felt comfortable, and I didn't care if that adult was offended. I didn't care if that adult never spoke to me again. I didn't care if the adult meant no harm. What I cared about is my child felt uncomfortable, so I'm taking charge and I'm letting them know, just in case you do have a problem. I'm letting you know that I know and I'm on to it. So you not at this house, not with this baby. And that's what we have to do. And no hard feelings. If you're not an abuser, no hard feelings. If you are an abuser, you're going to walk away and leave this one alone. So this is what happens. And this is what we have to do. If you see an adult and they're constantly tickling children and playing around with the children, or even try to tickle your child, you speak out. Listen, we don't do that. My child doesn't want to be tickled. I don't want you to tickle my child. We're not desensitizing my child. You're not going, and that doesn't mean everyone who tickles are sexual abusers. But what it does mean is that sexual abusers use tickling as a part of the grooming process.
So you talked about the grooming process. So what are the things that we should look out for? Because so often, we know that it's a family member, typically someone that the child knows, or someone that the child knows that's known to the family. So it
Yeah.
lowers the suspicion. Okay, lowers the suspicion. But what are the signs of the grooming of the child?
Someone that always wants to be around children. Watch out for them. Someone that's gives your children gifts all the time. Watch out for them. Someone who um, someone who's constantly giving, I said, the gifts, always want to be around children, trying to create opportunities to be alone with the children. We look out for
Mm,
creating, because the sexual abuse, it happens in front of parents, but the actual, where small gestures can happen in front of the parents because they want to test the parents and test the children, so
yeah.
they might pop on them with, yeah. Yeah, that's the reality. So they'll do it in front of the parents to see how, they might rub the leg or rub the stomach or rub somewhere, and to see what your child is going to do and see what you're going to do. So that someone that's constantly, they're so protective over your child, extremely protective over your child. Someone that it takes special interest in your child, like your child is the favorite one. Why? And someone that sneaks in and says sexual things. Oh, she's so sexy. She's so cute. He's so cute. Oh, I remember when my child was a baby, there was a brother that said, "Oh my God, you gotta look out for her. She was a baby in Pampers. The walk that she has on her, and you're gonna have to look out for her when she get older." And excuse me, my child is one. What do you mean? And why are you even looking at my child that way and addressing her in such a sexual manner? So you look out for those people, and those are some of the things that are blatant and that are obvious when it comes to the grooming process.
Hmm. Hmm. Because
And and
go
sexual
ahead.
abuse, they look for single mothers. They do. They look for children that are vulnerable. They look for children that don't know the body safety rules. They look for children with disabilities. They look for specific children. They are looking for children. I'm looking for a single mother. Why? Because she needs extra help. She needs extra help. Maids, nannies, that she needs help. A lot of coaches, because parents, they start looking at the coach, single parents, the coach is like a father figure. And if this coach wants your child to spend the night over their house, if this coach wants your child, no, you can't do those things. And it could be innocent, but you're going to have to always feel like it's not, so that you can be armed
Yeah.
and prepared.
Yes. And you're right about that. Those are predatory behaviors that we become desensitized to. Um,
Yeah.
and I thought this was particularly important to talk about this now because our children are home more often now. They have to be home. And, the parent might need to now go out to work. And now you have someone coming into your home, okay, to watch your children. Or, so there is going to school, the universe for them to interact with and possibly say something to the teacher, the counselor, just anyone. That world is now compressed. That world is now compressed. And we really need to be more aware of that. And, so sorry if I hurt your feelings. Okay. But this is about the safety of my child.
Here,
Okay.
and I don't care if I hurt your feelings. I'd rather hurt your feelings than hurt my child's feelings. I'd rather hurt your feelings than have to deal with a child who is struggling, my child who is in pain, my child who opens up and tells me that they have been abused and assaulted. I can't worry about your feelings. I have to take a few minutes of being uncomfortable so that I can make sure that my child is comfortable. And that's the goal here.
It absolutely is. So, Sharia, you have an upcoming event. So, share with us a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited about this event. So, as many of you may know or may not know, I'm an author. I wrote this book and it's entitled My Voice is My Superpower. This is my work of love. And this book actually helps parents to have the conversation with their children, because a lot of parents they've said to me, how do I have these conversations? I don't know where to begin. What should I do? So I decided, let me write this book. I wrote 2 books. I didn't publish one of them. I'm going to publish it in April. I'm going to launch it in April for Child Abuse Awareness Month. So I decided to start with this book. And with this book, what I did was I wrote a story, and it has a storyline, and it's about this guy. His name is Buddy, and he is going to spend the night over his cousin's house. And his mother said, okay, well, before you go, let's talk about the body safety rules. Yeah. Do you remember them? And Buddy talks about the body safety rules. And when he gets to his cousin's house, they're having fun. And then something happens. The aunt's boyfriend, he comes in and he brings a special gift to the cousin. And Buddy says, well, how long is he going to be here? We want to get back to playing the game. Because they were playing the game when he walked in. And she discloses, like, that's Mr. John. He's my mom's boyfriend. He's my mom's friend. He's my special friend too. He loves to play tickle, touch, and play pretend. And then she said, he always brings me gifts, gives me hugs whenever I need them. We play the touch game. Makes my body feel weird. But he told me not to tell because it was our little secret. So right then and there, Buddy says, oh, wait, do you know the body safety rules? So then he explains them to his cousin. He tells him, don't worry, I'll talk to you and I'll teach you the body safety rules. So that's what this book is. So I've decided, because a lot of parents have invested in my book and they may not have invested in my book, but I said, I want to teach the body safety rules to the children myself. So I am going to read my book to the children. I am going to do a book reading. We're going to go over the body safety rules. We're going to talk about our safety circles. We're going to create our safety circles. We're going to talk about the private parts. We're going to go over what if scenarios. We're going to talk about what it means when you say your voice is your superpower. And it's going to be in a fun setting. And then you know what we're going to do? So let me show you Buddy and his cousins.
This is so wonderful.
I am so excited. So these are the cousins. This is Buddy, Keisha, and Steve. They are, you notice on the front, Buddy has on a cape because he knows what his superpower is. So he has a superpower cape. His voice is his superpower. Keisha and Steve, they don't have on a cape because their parents didn't know the body safety rules. Ooh. So, but at the end, they all knew the body safety rules. And they all have a cape. And that's what Buddy talks about in the book. They say, me, Keisha, and Steve, these are the body safety rules in the back of my book. Me, Keisha, and Steve, we all have superpowers. We know that our voice is our superpower now because we know the body safety rules and we know we can speak out. We know we can tell. And we're going to go over that. And I'm going to let the children know that they can tell, that they can speak out. And then you know what we're going to do? It's just going to be so fun and so exciting. We are going to paint on a canvas. Keisha, Steve, and Buddy.
Yes.
See, a real live canvas. So for my event, each child will receive a canvas of their very own, and they will receive a pack of paintbrushes. They will receive a palette to put their paint in, an apron, mom, so you don't have to worry about their clothes getting dirty, their own individual paint.
Yay.
Everyone will have their own paint, so moms, you can put their paint inside their palette or you can leave it open. They're going to have their paint. My daughter said I'm sending too many colors. She said we can mix colors and make the other ones, but she's a little artist within herself. We're going to they're going to have a paper so that they can write their safety circle and their names inside of their safety circle. And this is my safety circle, and they're going to get a certificate at the end because now they are a part. Now my voice is my superpower. They're going to be a part of our champions, a part of our superhero team. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be on August the 23rd, separated by ages. So I'm going to have 5 to 7-year-olds together because as an educator, I know the language that I use to speak to a 5 to 7-year-old is not the same when I speak to an 8 to 10-year-old, and especially not the same with an 11 and 12-year-old. So I have to break down a language where, I would say to an older child, your voice is your power. A younger child, your voice is your superpower. The way that I communicate with a child, my tone, my diction, my body language is going to be different with a younger child versus an older child. So I didn't want to group 5-year-olds with 10-year-olds. It's just not age appropriate. It's not developmentally appropriate, and it's just not proper pedagogy for our children. So I'm having 3 different events. They're all on the same day, and the event is $30, and that includes shipping and handling. And for the $30, you get the canvas, you get the paint, the paintbrushes, the palette, not a paper plate, an apron, me, the author. The children are able to interview me, the author. They're able to ask me questions. You get the body safety rules. We read the book, and they get a certificate, and we're creating safety circles. So this is what we're doing on the 23rd of August. I'm going to come and it's virtual. So you don't have to worry about leaving your house. Your children don't have to worry about wearing the mask all day. And they will be grouped with other children. We will be grouped with other children on a live in a private Zoom session. Each parent will receive a Zoom invitation with a password, and it's only for the participants in the event. So that's what we're doing on the 23rd. Registration is going to close on the 17th because after the 17th, I have to ship all of the equipment. So if you register after the 17th, you may not get it on time because I want to make sure you have it by that Friday. I'm not going to ship them out early. I'm going to ship them all out at the same time so that, it gets early. Your child might see it even though you're an adult, and making so many runs to the post office. I'm getting all of the packages put together. We're going to ship it out. This is a fundraiser for my nonprofit organization, Buddy Speaks. This proceeds of this event will allow us to continue to bring education, continue to bring awareness, and be able to reproduce a lot of our products and eventually give them out for free. Help us to continue to bring awareness, help us to educate our children. So this is a fundraiser for our nonprofit organization. We had a fundraiser not long ago where I collected money to purchase teddy bears. There's a flyer for the event. Tanya, she's asking, is there a flyer for the event?
Yes, the flyer is actually posted right on Tanya Inspires. It's also, you can go to, give us your Facebook and your Instagram. Is it Buddy Speaks as well?
www. Yeah, Buddy Speaks on Instagram, but it's Buddy underscore Speaks. And then
Okay.
and it's on Facebook as well. And my Facebook page, and is that Stacy? Is Stacy on? She just ordered.
Yes.
Oh, yay! Stacy just ordered. And Stacy, I need you to I need your child's name. If you can inbox that so I can the proper spelling of your child's name so that I can put it on a certificate, because I want all the children to hold up their blue, white, and green certificate. Imagine how proud they'll feel. And I'm going to ask the children at the end, what makes their voice their superpower, and they can write it on the paper, hold up their pretty picture. It's going to be so nice. It's so exciting. And it's a fundraiser for our foundation. It's a fundraiser for our organization, because this is happening. This is happening in our community, and we need to empower the children. And parents, it is your job to be educated so that you can empower your children, and I'm going to work with you.
Yes.
I'm going to work
So
with
to donate, okay, or sponsor a child, okay, if you don't have, a child in your household or someone that can participate, it would be amazing if you could go to donate or, to sponsor a child. You can go to Buddy Speaks on the Facebook page or the website buddyspeaks.life as well. You can find the information also here in Tanya Inspires. The flyer is here. I will post the flyer on my page as well. So you can't say that you don't have a way to contribute or to share this information. If you want to buy a book, you can go online and buy that book. If you want to buy books, buy some books for, a whole lot of children in your neighborhood, and go and, give it to their parents. Um,
yes.
all right, just share the wealth. It is important. It is something that we can do now to help our children. I said when we kicked off the show that there were 500,000 children a year. I'm yelling. I'm sorry. I'm passionate about
No,
it.
no,
My
no,
voice
no.
carries.
I'm saying that at hearing that number, that's why I made that sound like, oh. And
It's
listen, Tanya, those are the children that disclosed. We're not
yeah.
even talking about the children that didn't disclose. Okay, I disclosed when I was before I was the age of 10, but Child Protective Services, they didn't get my they don't know. I didn't speak again until I was 30 and I was living overseas, and I came home for the summer and I had a trigger. And then when I had that trigger, I remember the most the scariest part of my abuse. And then I went to Women Organized Against Rape, who are now using my book as a part of their educational resources. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I went to war for help and support, and now war is me, a warrior, now has written. Thank you, Stacy. I'd appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And also, Tanya, if people want to sponsor a child, they can also send it via Cash App too. Buddy Speaks. If so, that's another way that they can send it. Stacy ordered 2 books. And I am so so the numbers are higher. The numbers are bigger. They're much bigger than what we have what we have online, what we have reported. Because these reported, yes. There's so many children.
So this is my challenge. This is my challenge to everyone who sees this live or who sees this on the replay. I urge you to make a donation to buddyspeaks.life. You can go there. You can make a cash donation to $ Buddy Speaks on Cash App. It is so important. And it's something that each and every one of us can do something about. All right. So I urge you to go to the website, reach out to me. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be taking a more active role in the foundation. So
Should we should we should we tell them? Should we tell them, or do you want to wait? We don't
we
have
can,
to, because if you wanted to announce it, you would have said it. So we'll keep it
yes,
the way that.
I'm going to take a more active role, and you're going to be hearing so much more for me about Buddy Speaks. I'm doing my, due diligence and my research, but it is time. I said this earlier this year. I received that message very clearly, very directly, and being led to be deliberate about the things and the causes that I lend my voice to. Buddy Speaks is one of those causes that requires attention. And so I was given the gift of my voice. And I have committed to using my voice to really support Buddy Speaks in every way that I can. You know that there's so many of us, and probably people watching, that have experienced child sexual abuse, and may or may not have disclosed, and their parents or whoever, if they disclosed, didn't really know what to do, so you haven't received the help that you needed. The impact of that does not go away. It does not go away. It requires, conversation and treatment. And it impacts your life, but also it is part of what I'm going to call is the generational bondage that is happening, within our communities and all communities. This is something that crosses boundaries. We are most concerned about the community that we live in because there's always, disproportionate, care and support that abounds in our community. And it is time that we speak up and do something and say something and contribute. And this is something that everyone can contribute to. And this is something that can save a child's life, a teenager's life. It just crosses all boundaries: race, religion, class, male or female, child or adult. This is often something that is at the basis for so much of the trauma and dysfunction that we find in life. So let's do something. Let's make a contribution. Let's buy some books and and let's call on Sharia. So tell us the other services that you provide, Sharia, because it's not just with the children. What else? What other kind of services do you provide under the umbrella of Buddy Speaks?
Thank you, Tanya. I was just having a moment, when I was
I
listening to you,
understand.
and you drive that passion, that emotion, and I'm just so grateful to have you a part of Buddy Speaks, because yes, your gift is a voice, and we need people like you to work and be a part of this cause. And I speak about education, and before we jump off, I'm going to share a little bit of awareness so people can know real life situations, real life things that has happened. Because a lot of times, if you just hear the education, but you don't hear the awareness, and you don't really know exactly what's going on and how children will affect you, it might not touch your heart as much. So I'm going to share that too. And to answer your question, what do I do? I provide support. I provide support for survivors. I provide support for parents. I have parents who contact me, and I walk step by step by step with them. What should they do? They inbox me. They call my business line. Some of them, they're my close friends, so they call my personal line. They text message me, what should I do next? I reach back out to them. I'm constantly there to provide support. I also, as I said before, I did a fundraiser, and I am purchasing, once the fundraising check comes, I'm purchasing teddy bears. I feel like when a child discloses abuse, we at Buddy Speaks, we want to let the children know that they're not alone, that we are here to support them. A lot of children that are survivors of sexual abuse, they hold on to like animals. They feel like animals protects them. You'll even see some children that have the highest level of PTSD. They have a dog, and the dog, the trauma dog, and the dog helps them. The dog smells when they're going to be, they feel triggered, and they come to them and they sit with them, and they kind of calm them down and relax them. So I want to provide the children with what we call empowered bears. So the bear will have a little cape on the back, and it'll say, "My voice is my superpower," and it's going to come for the child. And it's going to also we're going to have the teddy bear, and then some resources for the parents to let them know how they can support their child. And just to know from Buddy Speaks that we are here for you. Even if you're a teenager and you've experienced abuse, you still can hold on to that teddy bear. It's something tangible for you. We made a donation. Each teddy bear is $25, and that will help cover the shipping, the teddy bear, and go towards go towards the um the the awareness information. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
the information that we're going to, the resources that we're going to ship to the parents. So we provide support. I've gone to court with survivors, where if I've had survivors and they reached out to me and they shared with me, and I went to court and sat right next to that survivor before they went on the stand, and before their judge went on the stand, I walked neck and neck with them. I've actually went and had to be with a child themselves, when the child actually, because of their trauma, they chose the fight, the flight. You have the fight, the flight, the fawn, and the freeze. And I went to the mother let me know what was happening, and I went and I understood what the child was doing, and to give the mother some ease, and to give the child some ease and a safe space. So we have the workshops. We're working on thank you. We have workshops. We're here to provide support. We're here to provide education, here to provide awareness. We have the teddy bear drive that's going on. I have capes that I make, and they're so cute. And the capes, they say, "My voice is my superpower." It's a bunny's cape, and I hand make them. I hand make the capes. They're like here, and it has your child's, it's personalized with your child's initial on the back. and they come in different colors, and that's on my website too. So, there's a lot of work that we're doing out here to empower the children, to educate the parents, and, to bring awareness. And when we speak about awareness, and when I speak about awareness, if you just give me a moment, I can share
Yeah.
with you some of the things that takes place with children. There's a teenage girl who was sexually assaulted by a woman, and then by as a child, and then by a boy, as she got older. And the boy, it wasn't penetration, but it was oral sex. And oral sex, forcing her to have oral sex, still gave her the same, it's the same effects. Even if there's no penetration, it's still rape. It's still rape. And traumatized the girl to the point where, she became so overwhelmed with her emotions. So she didn't know the boundaries to set. And she cut up her arm so bad. Every time she had a memory, every time she had a trigger, her arm looked like a racetrack. This was a little girl that was 12 years old. Every time the 12-year-old girl is dealing with being called a whore, being called all kind of terrible names, and being teased by her so-called friends, because this child doesn't know that her hasn't, even though she received therapy, even though she's receiving help, she's still struggling with her trauma. So she uses her body as a way to get attention. The child is now 14. She's not 12 anymore. So where she looks like she's a whore, no, I'm not really a whore. I just want attention. And these people are pretending that they like me. And the way that I think that they can like me is if I let them touch my body. If I perform oral sex, if they perform oral sex on me, and then I go from this person, now I'm going to that person, and I'm going to that person, because my body was devalued when I was 6 years old, and when I was 11 and 12 years old. So now this is all that I know. So these are the things that she's going through. This young child who's not even 15 years old. So as a result, she just wants to take pills to take the pain to go away. A boy who was sexually assaulted by a woman. And as a result of him being sexually assaulted, she made the boy watch pornography. And he was only 4 years old, 4, 5, and 6 years old. Now the boy is a teenager and he's addicted to pornography. And he feels like this is normal. This is normal. Why? Because she made him do that. Although he's receiving therapy, although he's receiving counseling, and it helped them to speak about his trauma, it helped him to talk about it. This is the effect of it. There's so many children that are inside of institutions. They are inside of institutions in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania and Delaware where they attempted suicide. I know firsthand because I've worked with these children. I'd rather kill myself than to continue to go through this pain. I'd rather end my life. There's a woman that recently attempted to did commit suicide because she was abused. She was raped as a teenager. This is the reality. We have children. There's an organization with JJPI, and it's a boss group, and it's for male survivors boys, teenagers, children. And there's so many boys in this group who were sexually assaulted, and they're trying to remove boys overcoming, sexual stigmas, and they're trying to support these boys. And these boys are raped, and they were raped by men. They were raped by women. There's real life stories. Sexual abuser. I know of one child experience. He disclosed his abuse. He told his mother that it was just his brother, but he told me it was my brother and it was me. But I didn't want my mom to get mad at me. So I didn't tell her the truth that it was me. This is why we have to control our anger. This is why we have to greet them with compassion. This is why, and this little boy, he starts getting scared. He breaks out windows. He hits people. I know of a little boy who was experienced child sexual abuse, and he put a bag over his head because he was triggering and he thought he was about to get raped. He thought because when he was being raped, he was being hit too. He put a plastic bag over his head and he tied it because I'd rather die than feel this pain again. This boy at the time was 9 years old, another 9 year old little boy. His mother had to hide all the shoestrings. She had to hide all the bathrobes, the belts to the bathrobes, because one day he was sitting down. She was in her living room cooking. And these are parents that speak out to me. She was in the living room cooking. He was, she was in the kitchen cooking. He was in the living room. She just so happened to walk into the living room. He had the rope around the bathrobe around his neck and he was turning blue because he had a trigger, because he had a memory. This is what's happening in our African American community. It happens in the Latina community. It happens with America. It happens across the borders. It happens in every country. So many situations, so many scenarios. And they're going inside of the institution so that they can learn coping skills, so that they can learn how to be safe, but then they're coming back out and they have to learn how to be compassionate. Parents aren't sending children to therapy. We have to send our children to therapy so that they can understand that it's not their fault, so that they can feel safe. I have so many stories. I have so many stories to share, but I know our time is limited. But this is real live things that are happening to our children, to our children.
The numbers speak for themselves. We get distracted so often. We get distracted with the political, nonsense that is going on. And, there are things, um, there are things that can be done. Thank you, Stacey's. We do have a work to do. Stacy posted in the chat um, at all of the different sites that you can go to, real live information about what is happening. And you're absolutely right, Stacy. This is why this work and this mission is so important. So I'm going to, urge you to make that contribution, to buy some books, to reach out to Sharia or myself. We would love to do an online education forum, just with parents so that they can get this information. So we ask you to support us in our mission. We thank you. Sharia, thank you so very much again for joining me. There's so much more to come with regard to the awareness and information and education. So please remember to go to www.buddyspeakslife.life, right?
Yes.
www.buddyspeaks.life. But you could just Google Buddy Speaks, okay? And you can find Sharia and the Her Foundation. You guys know where I am. Every second that we spent talking about this, was the least that we could do. If you'd like to make a donation, you can send it via Cash App, $Buddy Speaks. We know that this is a great cause, and you never know what's going on in your own family. So please reach out to us anytime, make the donation. Sharia, thank you. I appreciate you. We will continue to work together. There's so much exciting stuff that, is going to be coming, coming to you. I am honored to my talks with Tanya. Thank you very much, my audience. Thank you so very much for joining me, for your comments. Um, for what you have done. Thanks so very much for joining me. We have Bongai who came on, and she's another amazing advocate. She advocates for children in Zimbabwe, and it's always me and a cause, right? We are doing a fundraiser for the AA, the Youth Leadership Foundation, African and American Youth Leadership Foundation, and we are contributing so that girls do not have to experience childhood marriages, which to me is a form of sexual abuse.
Absolutely. It is
And
sex.
it is
Ah,
sexual abuse. So we are doing a fundraiser. At You can go to the website for AAYLF as well, and so many amazing causes. We want to make sure that you stay in touch with us. Make sure you go to Buddy Speaks and get the information that you need. All right. Thank you so very much, Sharia. Thank you very much to my audience for joining me. I appreciate it. Every second that we spent on here was well worth it. This is Tanya Bean, your host of Tanya Inspires Talks with Tanya. We will be back again soon, and we appreciate you. And remember, until we meet again, stay inspired. Take care, everyone.